Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for some more Dota 2 Super League action. It's going to be Rattlesnake versus Orange Esports. Best of three. Orange Esports sitting pretty, 2-0 in the group. Rattlesnake, not so much. They're 0-3. They might end up just getting swept. I'm LD. I'm joined here by Lumi. Lumi, draft now underway. What do you think about this match?
I think the match will depend on Extinct, what hero he's going to be getting. Extinct kind of, so far, has been the MVP for Orange Esport, and that's not something you hear too much because Mushi, for example, Ohio, KYXY, these are the players that gets a lot of attention because they get a lot of farm, they get a lot of kills.
Yeah, and they're sort of your flashy, explosive players.
Yeah, especially the way that Orange and another C team like to play. They really like to put a ton of farms on these three carries, and then very little farm and experience in the two support. But to me, the support has been the big playmakers for Orange Esport. Earlier, I think D2SL showed a very interesting statistic of KDL, and KDR. I don't really care about KDR that much because it just depends on who gets the most farm, who gets the most kill. Unsurprisingly, Burning was on the top of the chart with like 13 KDR per game.
Yeah, DK's 3-0 in the group, looking pretty.
Right. The next highest, surprisingly, was Extinct, 11 KDR per game.
Wow.
And that goes back to the Visage that he's been playing, that he's completely decimating everybody. Visage currently in the pool, and Orange Esport like to either pick up Gyrocopter or Nyx Assassin first. And in fact, they're going to go with Bat Rider this game because that's also one of the more imbalanced hero. But if Rattlesnake don't pick up Visage right now, Orange Esport will happily gobble it up.
Yeah, let's see what they go for. Now, the one interesting point to be made here is last week when we had some games for the Dota 2 Super League, we had a bit of a hiatus. But before that, 6.78 came out. Thing was, patch came out right after G1 League. The teams really didn't have time to train or practice. They just jumped straight into the patch. So I was going to say, well, maybe they've had some more time to experiment, to come up with new strategies. Maybe we'll see something different like we've been seeing a lot of in the Western scene. But off the bat, you get your standard Chinese flavors of the month, or not even flavors. I feel Visage might be here to stay, but Visage and Clockwork both picked up, and rather early at that. Now, Clockwork, one of the stronger ways to deal with a Bat Rider, simply because when he fireflies in, he has to worry about the cogs, gets bounced around a lot. Obviously, Battery Assault makes it hard to stay near the Clockwork, and just generally a difficult hero to kill. So a decent way to deal with Bat Rider. Consider the Nyx has been out, one of the other main counters, but they're giving Orange Esports a lot of their favorite heroes. Now they'll pick up the Shadow Demon, and we'll see where they go with this next set of picks. But of course, before that, we do have some bans.
Yeah, actually, Visage has been kind of, like you said, not exactly favorite of the month, but he really popped out during the Eastern scene. Kind of took a couple of categories in the compendium.
Yeah.
I think nobody actually expected that. But in terms of the particular matchup here, I think he matches up quite decently against Bat Rider. Until Bat Rider gets that Force Staff, both the familiars as well as the long cast range of the Grave Chill could actually kind of slow him down and maybe even kill him before he successfully drags somebody out. Very interesting Slark ban here. I don't personally see Slark being picked up or banned up this early, especially in the Asian scene, but seems like Orange Esport is really giving that hero a lot of credit.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we've seen that Rattlesnake aren't afraid to run this hero. I think they've run it at least once or twice before, and it's also just a great way to deal with Bat Rider because, of course, you can use the Dark Pact to debuff Lasso and Sticky Napalm as well, and Elusive does a lot of damage, can also just ruin a Bat Rider in the fight. If he just jumps in and latches onto him, then you can't pull anyone away. You're just kind of trapped there, taking a lot of damage, dropping quickly. So I think it's a smart ban just to ensure Bat Rider has an easier time getting his game going, but they'll ban out a Treant. Now, this is something a little bit unusual because we've seen a lot of tree plays, particularly out of DD Dota in the Western scene, but this hero has not been picked at all, really, in Asia. Maybe once or twice, but barely at all, and we'll see him banned out now.
Yeah, I mean, they have heroes that deals very well with Tree Firefly, as well as the Poison Spam from Shadow Demon doesn't care too much about Tree, but at the same time, there's so much of their early game offense is based on two supports roaming to lane and then setting up a kill. Against a Tree and Protector, that's like impossible. So
Good luck.
Guess, yeah, you know, I guess it's
especially when it's Clockwork and Visage. We're already very hard to kill.
Right. I mean, if you look at Rattlesnake's team right now, it is so damn hard to actually get a kill, right? Clockwork, Cogs is hard to get a kill against. Visage, the fact that he's so long range, so he can stay always back, and Gravekeeper Cloak makes him very tanky, and of course Spectre would his natural build tank and the fact that he has dispersion, it's hard to actually find a kill against this entire team.
You know, Lumi, breaking this draft down a little more, we look at the bans for Rattlesnake, and at least 3 of these clearly directed at Mushi. The gyrocopter is something he's taken solo mid a lot, even KYXY occasionally to the safe lane, but often it's Mushi mid. The OD ban, direct respect ban towards Mushi, and now a Queen of Pain ban as well. So lots of Mushi heroes off the board, but that solo mid Sand King, something that we've seen from him in the past. Are we going to see it again here today?
I think it depends on the matchup. If you don't give him an easy mid lane against a melee hero, I don't think it's a free roll. Last time we saw a DK versus Sand King matchup, and Sand King just got caustic finale.
That's a hard lane for DK.
Right. So we'll see. Maybe we'll still see a solo mid Sand King, but it's only good against certain selected heroes. Also about the bans from Rattlesnake is that they're all burst damage output. And again, that goes back to how tanky the Rattlesnake team is. If you don't actually burst everybody down, chances are you're going to lose a war of attrition. Soul Assumption every 4 seconds, Clockwork providing vision, and Spectre chasing people down. They could actually complement the team with a Doombringer pick or something like that, and suddenly you have 4 very difficult to kill heroes. Orange Esports doesn't have too much burst damage aside from a Sand King ultimate, and you don't really plan to have that channeled every team fight.
Yeah, what are they going to go for to get that burst? Because heroes like OD, Queen of Pain, the Gyro, these are some of the staple heroes that Orange will turn to for that burst damage.
And Visage.
Yeah, and Visage, of course, as well, who was selected by Rattlesnake. They'll go back for Rubik, and already having a lot of damage on their other heroes, they go for a support that gives them great setup. Also is fantastic against Batrider. If he jumps in, you just lift him up, and you allow your team to disengage. And Sand King, if you can steal Burrow Strike. And Lone Druid, a hero that at times has just been automatic first pick material, in fact was for ages, has kind of fallen off, but we'll see him as the 4th pick, and maybe Orange get a bargain here with that.
Well, I mean, Orange Esports, when they like to play the Lone Druid, they basically sacrifice him. He throws him on the long lane, I think. Ohio?
No, you're thinking of the Prophet, actually. The Lone Druid sometimes even goes mid for KYXY.
Okay. Yeah, well, it depends.
They're pretty versatile.
Yeah, there's some games that they just sack it. Some other games they dedicate him a little bit. But I expect him to be somewhat sacrificed. This particular game, it depends on what the last pickup is. So far, the Shadow Demon Sand King dual roam is pretty good. But going back to the Rubik pick, I think they just want a quick way to disable the Batrider. It's a telekinesis that's instant cast. And even against the turn rate slowdown, that is Sticky Napalm. If he blinks in and you can quickly kind of disengage with lift, it's not that bad. So
it's a very strong defensive team. Rattlesnake, you look at them, they're pretty well rounded. They obviously have the burst of Soul Assumption, Cogs, Battery Assault, some decent damage, and then things like Spectre's Desolate. And now they add Rubik, a hero that can allow them to disengage. So an elusive team, a team that can basically choose when they want to take fights. They have the global, the semi-global ultimate with the hook, the rocket, which is global, the haunt, which is global, the long range of Soul Assumption, and now X and Torrent. So Rattlesnake, the one thing I really say when I look at their team is they can just choose when they want to fight, because they have long range and they're hard to kill, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, Kunkka, really the flavor of the month, right? Because back in the Eastern qualifier, he was constantly first picked. And now it seems like maybe this is more correct in terms of the pick order. They have great lanes as well, because Clockwork as a long lane solo, great. And of course, this particular tri-lane Visage, Rubik, and Spectre, just so much killing power. You don't expect a lot of killing power out of a Spectre tri-lane, but with a Visage Bird, it's always very easy to pick up some kills. And of course, Kunkka solo mid, it's actually hard to win a lane against this particular hero, even if you put a Bat on it. I think Bat will eventually win the lane, but Kunkka does pretty fine on his own. Yeah,
I mean, Batrider should probably win the lane, like you said, but Kunkka can just kind of spam Torrent, go in there every now and then for a Tidebringer, and really shouldn't die. He is quite tanky, and of course you always have X to send the Batrider back, which we've seen a lot of the Kunkka players, they aren't necessarily maxing Torrent in the cleave first. They'll actually go for at least 1, if not 2 points in X by level 7 or 8, so he'll have that to disengage as well. They'll go for the Ohio Windrunner, a hero that Orange has been running a lot of. They really enjoy this tri-lane Windrunner. One of the big benefits is you can roam. When you have an off-lane Windrunner, she doesn't need that much help, and when you have Sand King Shadow Demon, you would love to roam. So I really like this pick from Orange.
It just makes sense. Supports on Orange Esports love to roam all of the map, with smokes or not, and then once you get off the lane, you want your support heroes, or you want your solo heroes like the Batrider, like the Windrunner, and like the Lone Druid to be fine. And these are very, very good solo heroes. We're going to see a solo mid bad, and when is the last time we've seen some solo mid bad?
You know, I actually don't know if I've ever seen Mushi play Batrider. As fantastic, as an explosive of a solo mid as he is, we normally see him on heroes that do sort of a more DPS type solos, like Queen of Pain, Templar Assassin, Gyrocopter. I'm very interested to see his Batrider, because I just don't know what to expect.
Yeah, for the bats or for the solo mid that we see him play, it's the one that snowballs. Like for example, a Puck or Queen of Pain that gets a double kill in a team fight, and suddenly he's up with Blink Dagger, for example. For Bat Rider, you can still do it, but it's a lot less explosive and it's a lot more initiation based. So his plan is to jump in and grab somebody and isolate basically every Bat Rider's game plan. But we'll talk about that later. Orange Esport on the Radiant side, they're 3-0, I want to say, or 2-0.
2-0, looking
far.
to be 3-0 here.
Yeah,
today.
looking to be 3-0 in the D2L or DSL.
D2SL, Dota 2 Super League.
That's another tournament. But yeah, Mushi's going to be playing the Bat Rider, most likely solo mid. Extinct's going to be playing Sand King. We have KYXY playing most likely offlane Lone Druid. We have Net playing the Shadow Demon, and last but not least, Ohio playing that Windrunner.
I actually think it might be a safe lane Lone Druid because they just have a very strong offensive tri lane. But on RNG Sports, like you said, these boys, they're 2-0. They're looking good. If they win this best of 3, they'll be 3-0 in the group, and that will set up an amazing final match for the group stages of the Dota 2 Super League, the biggest prize pool outside of the International 3. Well, although I say that, things have changed with Nexon's announcement, but until we hear more about their league, I'll pretend like it doesn't exist. For now, the biggest tournament by far in China, Rattlesnake 0-3 right now. They just want to get a win on the board. They're already mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, but hopefully they can salvage their pride here today. They are going to the International 3, and so every bit of courage they can muster will be much needed in the coming days and months. Luo on the Rubik. We'll have Sagam playing the Visage. Kabu on the carry Spectre. So the role switch continues here, and he'll be taking over for that. Lamb on the Kunkka, and last but not least, it will be an offlane Icy handling the Clockwork.
Yep. Icy's going to have a 1v1 matchup against Lone Druid. That matchup's going to be very, very difficult for him. I expect Lone Druid to take this lane. You could actually maybe get a kill if you're very good. Like, walk up to him, cog him, and then use Battery Assault. But looks like he's got Rocket Flare first as his first spell, so we probably won't expect a kill early on. Meanwhile, in this tri-lane versus tri-lane, hard to actually say who has the advantage because on one side you have Visage, but on the other you have two very good harassers in the form of Windrunner and Shadow Demon.
I think Rattlesnake is just not quite as strong at level 1. You look at RNG Sports, and Shadow Demon plus Sand King, such a good initiating combo. If they can find some early kills here, that could come into play. And the reason I bring it up is they've actually managed to block off both camps because they had an Illusion Rune. So keep your eyes on Orange, on the early levels especially. They may be able to pull ahead in this tri-lane. But towards the mid lane, it will be Mushi on the Bat Rider solo mid against the Kunkka of Lamb, probably the most versatile player, well, certainly on the team and one of the most in China, but hasn't quite been explosive like he was earlier in the Eastern qualifiers, has slowed down as of late. They'll be looking for him to have a big impact. And then, as you expected, Lumi, that safe lane just not going to go well for Rattlesnake. That's going to be absolute free farm for the Lone Druid. So it puts a lot of pressure on their tri-lane to do pretty well here.
Yeah, the mid lane is going to be very hard for Lamb as well because exactly how you see Mushi's actually playing it. Firefly just right off the bat for level 2. He's not going for any kills.
Oh, we'll have an engagement top. Net gets lifted up, pulled back in. He's going to start taking a lot of damage. Soul Assumption is there. He's not able to dodge it with the disruption, and Net is certainly going to give up a first blood. My goodness. Really out of position there, and great reaction by Rattlesnake.
Well, that's the tri-lane one, right? Generally, when you get a kill like that as a safe lane, you get to pull. The enemy doesn't really have too much option. I guess they still could pull this camp to the left, but you can see that the Dire team is already taking care of that as Luo gets hit by the creep and now gets a pull successfully. So that is a very needed kill, first blood for the Dire team, because you expect them to lose both the mid and bot lanes.
You know, Lumi, I just want to point out real quickly, Mushi's been very efficient solo mid. He actually managed to stack the big camp while also controlling the runes, which he just gets one now, and he's only missed a handful of creeps, so playing quite well on this solo mid Bat Rider, despite never having at least shown it when I've cast him before. Looking forward to see what he can do from here. CS isn't the best, but with these camp stacks, he may pull ahead, and well, for the time being, I see us slightly behind Lamb, but I think that's an okay trade when you're getting the big camp stack.
Yeah, I actually am a little bit surprised that he roamed off the lane. He's now half a level behind because he's actually winning the lane so hard. Just on the hero matchup alone, I thought he was going to stay and continue to dominate, but he gave Lamb a little bit of breathing room, and Lamb's not a player that you want to give him that breathing room.
He's going to engage now. No, just Firefly in the creep wave.
Yeah, it just prevents a melee hero to actually from walking into the lane, which is not a bad way to deal with him.
Now he's got Flame Break, but Lamb's a little low level. Mushi probably glad that he didn't push him back in there. And, well, we'll see Rattlesnake continue to try and pull. They still only have level 1 on their Visage. Level 2 now secured on the Rubik. So for both tri-lanes, they are a little bit starved here for levels and farm. Orange actually thinking about an engage. They might go in, not just yet. I felt like they could have had a kill there on Luo. Spectre's not going to do a whole lot in that situation, but They decide to play it safe.
Yeah, it's a level 1 Burrow Strike, so the initiation range is quite short.
Very true.
Yeah, and if you don't kill Visage right from the get-go, he will kill you faster than you kill him.
Mushi going in on Lamb again mid. He's got 2 stacks of napalm up. Nope, won't commit.
It's just a ton of harassment on the mid lane. I don't expect a kill to be happening because Lamb does have that 10 charge on the Magic Stick. It's very difficult to go kind of all in against him. So
yeah, that's a good point. And also doing quite a bit of bottle crowing, it looks like. Well, actually, sorry, it doesn't have a bottle yet. Just went straight for the boots and... well, he'll be relying on the stick charges then, so I'd like to see him pop them since there's no regen coming otherwise. But KYXY, 23-9 in this bottom lane. You do expect Clockwork to lose, but even though Orange gives up the first blood top, I think they're still in good shape just because their Lone Druid is dominating this bottom lane ridiculously hard.
Yeah, and Icy's going to have a tough time too. Generally, as a Clockwork player, you hit level 6 and you say, all right, man, I'm going to leave the lane. I got my quick level 6. Let's set up some kills on the other side of the map. It's probably what he's going to end up doing, but at the same time, KYXY says, if you leave the lane, I'm going to push down your tier 1 tower, and that's generally not what you want to give up against a Lone Druid. Sure, he doesn't have that armlet build anymore, but if you give him any easy snowball, which he already has an easy lane, he's going to just dominate you mid with things like Maelstrom into Radiance, which is the build that I assume that he's going to be going for this game.
Yeah, this is a game where he definitely needs to build more as the hard carry. You have Windrunner, she'll take over the utility items, so things like the mech, the arcane boots, we can expect to see. Well, Ohio's actually gone phase, but certainly the mech, some utility for the team. Force Staff even will be an option for him. Mushi's obviously going to go Blink. He'll be the initiator, but it really is going to be up to KYXY to do all the heavy lifting in terms of just raw physical damage as the game drags on. Top lane, no engagements yet. It's been very passive for both teams, and, well, Ohio chipping away. He is getting the most farm in this tri-lane, despite the early first blood, and really putting the pain and the harassment onto the support. So RNG Sports will take a look at the gold graph now.
Top
lane, as soon as we check, they're going in. Disruption, Burrow Strike, and Power Shot all follow through. Sagam completely caught out and picked off with ease. And the early phase boots pick up on Ohio coming into play now. The chase onto Luo. Another Burrow Strike could spell his doom. He gets shackled. He gets burrowed. He's dropping low. Power Shot's there as well. Even with the stick charges, it won't be enough. Down he goes. Now Kabu tries to fight his way out. He's isolated net. He'll bring him down with the Desolate. And when it's all said and done, well, we'll see a couple bodies hit the floor.
Yeah, I'm not too sure who actually came out ahead there. Obviously, it was 2 kills on the Radiant side, 1 kill on Dire, but your Spectre got the solo kill EXP and the actual kill. So he's almost hitting level 6. I think once you do get level 6 on Spectre, suddenly the lanes on the mid and bot gets a lot easier. Hasteman on the mid lane looks like he's going to go right in. No flame break. I'm very surprised. If you get push him back, he's dead. He's only got 3 wand charges.
Yeah, it seems like the team maybe had a bit of a dispute there about what they wanted to do because Net teleports to the mid lane, so generally assume it's going to be a gank. We'll actually see an invis room bottled up by Icy, but you see the Shadow Demon TP mid, you're thinking, okay, we want to go fight, but Mushi, well, he just fireflies the wave and pushes the lane out, which means you're much less likely to get that kill. Still lurking around mid is Net, but now it's pretty damn obvious he's missing. Yeah,
looking at this particular matchup again, re-evaluating it, Kunkka's actually not that bad against Batrider because, well, maybe Shadow Demon's going to come in with Disruption. Here we go, the Firefly is going to be on top, and of course, there's going to be a Flame Break, and Lasso on top as well. Lamb is so dead, just as we're saying that the matchup is not that bad. Lamb's going to give him a kill, and the reason I don't think it's that bad is because Tidebringer gives you a ton of damage. More importantly, he pushes the lane.
Well, top lane, we're going to see Luo rotating around, looking to go on Extinct. He'll find him now, but who's the one who's caught here? It's actually going to be Ohio. Eats the Soul Assumption to the face. Shackle will not last, but now he wind runs away, and with the phase boots, it's going to be enough. It really is the beauty of this off-lane Windrunner, is you can move the supports around, and she doesn't die, unlike a lot of other off-laners.
She doesn't die as easily.
Yeah, she can die, but
right.
Not to a Spectre tri-lane.
Right.
They just don't have the lockdown.
Speaking of Spectre, actually gone for treads. This is something that we don't see too often. Most of the time, it's always phase boot to kind of help her last it and move in and out of team fight and chase people down, but maybe just a little bit more worried about HP. She's teleporting back right from level 6. I think we're going to see a Hunt gank coming out to the bot lane.
Now, who are you going to go on? That's the big question.
Bot lane, I think. They have one person already here in the form of Lamb. They already have Clockwork, and I think they're making it go right now.
Oh, they're going to go with, there's the hook. Icy catches KYXY under the tower, but the bear is just ruining him. The backup isn't here. Icy, oh man, he's going to get netted up and brought down under the tower. Sorry, not netted up, but rooted up. And, well, Lamb throws in a boat. Sure, they end up getting a kill on the Shadow Demon, but was that really worth it? Trading the Clockwork, feeding the Lone Druid, and not killing him. Gotta say, probably not, Lumi.
Yeah, even though Shadow Demon died there, I'm going to say that was really the power of Shadow Demon. They noticed him TPing in, and if they kept going for the kill on the bear, they would not have got any.
Top
and they would
lane.
have died.
They're going to go in on Luo.
Strike, power shot, shackle shot. Here comes the Han, a really close range Han, but they're going to burst down Extinct, or at least try to do so. Windrunner is going to get the kill and get the hell out. Extinct, Burrow Strike to the low ground. I think, the pathing not really helping out. Also on cooldown as well. They get a 1-for-1 trade. I think if you're the Spectre team, you're happy because he's almost level 7. We're in he's facing against an offensive trialing. His farm's not that good, but his kill and experience gain is really, really good.
Yeah, and the one thing is the way Spectres are building nowadays, they don't really need as much farm as they used to. You go for things like Phase, Yasha, Vitality Booster, Diffusal Blade, Drums. You're not building your Radiance. You're not rushing a big, expensive item. So to some extent, I do feel Spectre can kind of get away with that. Also, Lumi, the other consideration is their team is just so good at finding pickoffs. With X marks the spot, Torrent follow-up, Hook, Rocket, the burst damage of Soul Assumption. Spectre doesn't really have to shoulder the full burden, not until much later on, so, well, maybe he can get away. But that being said, the farm is really poor. 30 CS, 9 minutes in. This is the whole point of the tri-lane Windrunner in the aggressive position is just prevent the enemy team from farming kills. I feel for Orange were just a bonus in this laning stage. All they really cared about was not feeding and slowing down the Spectre's farm, and so far, they've done it.
Yeah, and looks like it's going to be continuing to do so as Batrider picks up a Blink Dagger. One of the earliest Blink, 9.5 minutes with Boots, Bottle, and Blink. And it looks like we're going to see a gank attempt on the mid lane. Luo thinks he's getting some free XP, but this CXP is going to come in a cost. Mushi could come on the right side, like right here, and then Firefly over, and that's exactly what he's doing.
It's nighttime. It's very hard to spot this one coming, but Luo, way behind the tower, actually going to be absolutely okay.
He had no vision at all. That was just good map awareness.
Yeah, we'll see that I'm actually not logged out of Steam, friends. That production value in action. Well, we fixed that one now. Sorry about the notifications, guys, but we'll see a double damager in spawn top. And Lumi, that's a big deal that Mushi didn't find that kill. Not just because they missed the kill, but now the jig is up, and Rattlesnake know he has that really fast blink, so they can play more defensively. Let's see if that'll keep them safe. They're going to smoke up top lane. Extinct, Mushi, and Ohio. 3 peas in a pod. I don't know if pods can have 3, but they do now. Smoking up, heading towards the top lane, and looking for a kill on Kabu. I love how they're ganking the Spectre's lane because he can't haunt to counter gank. He'll be the one who's on the defensive running for his life.
So he says, Neo, you stay in front. I'll counter gank for you, sort of.
Take the bullet for me. Secret Service member Sagem in the house.
And that's why he's going for power treads. He just needs the extra HP to survive. Once you do survive, though, you can, for example, TP back home, which he doesn't have a TP score right now. And then you can hunt back in and do a lot more work. But it is so hard to actually survive against a... Oh, here we go.
Oh, here we go. Mushi's going to Firefly in. Look for the blink. Jumps in. Grabs Kabu. The ideal target if you can burst him down. The Burrow's there. There's no follow-up just yet. He does go down, though. Spectre dying. Not a good start for him. He's been dying and not farming well. The boat comes in. Extinct will get blown up, but a Spectre for a Sandgate. I will take that trade any day. They want Icy. They're going to find him. Mushi's joined the party as well. He'll blink away. Icy's going to fall. Ohio on a killing spree, and Mushi not done yet. Stacking the napalm, looking for Sagam. Will he die for the extra kill? Not just yet, but the potential is there, and that's exactly what they want. They kill the Spectre, they draw Rattlesnake towards the top lane, and Lone Druid pushes bottom and farms freely.
Yeah, just as expected early on. Shaco shot on the top lane against Lamb as well. Not much mana left on the Orange Esports, so they can't really kind of follow up that Shaco shot.
Oh, they're actually going in on Ohio? Nope, just an X.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what you expect out of the Lone Druid. You win the solo lane, and of course, Clockwork loves to actually go gank after level 6. He just will get punished if he gets ganked, even though he was helping out the other side of the map. Look at that tier 1 tower on the bot lane. It's almost going to get brought down. Anytime that you don't put attention to Lone Druid, he will just make you regret.
You know, I'm not sure how well these role switches are working for Rattlesnake. Kabu not getting farm on the carry Spectre. Luo trotting around, just picked up his boots at 12 minutes into the game on a safe lane support Rubik. That's pretty just atrocious. Not to say he's playing poorly, but it's not a situation you want to be in. And, well, KYXY farming freely. What has he picked up for himself now? Actually a Clarity Potion. Not a pickup you see often on Lone Druid, but it'll ensure that he can continue to use those Tranquil Boots and stay in the lane. And, well, they may be looking for a kill here mid. Extinct sitting in the lane. More importantly, though, it's Mushi lurking on the high ground. So far, the Blink Dagger, hasn't been as effective as you might think. It was a really fast blink. I think we saw there, George, our stats guy, 4 minutes faster than the average, but he's only really had one successful kill with it.
I mean, it got a Spectre kill, who he's kind of been...
that's fair, but now he's level 9. He's falling behind the Kunkka. Is it enough?
I think a lot of the effect of a Blink Dagger or Batrider, it's not shown on the stats. keeping the guys back on the Rattlesnake side. They're not farming as aggressively. It's actually harder to set up ganks now because you have no idea where that bat is. It's not always showing up on the scoreboard, and it looks like, well, he wants to put himself on the scoreboard. He's hunting on the top lane, making it look at Kabu. He's playing so defensive because he doesn't see the bat on the map and he's not farming. So a lot of that, for example, 46 CS is because there's a bat on the blink.
Again, there's two reasons why I love the fact that they're putting pressure on the top lane. The first, as I mentioned, is if you gank Spectre, he can't haunt to counter gank. The other, well, you might see Mushi going now. Tower's going to drop bottom lane. KYXY able to pick that up, and Mushi just waiting to pounce. But we're going to see some familiars fly in, and they've spotted him out. So Mushi, he'll have to hoof his way out of here. Well, flap his way out anyway. Nope, bottom lane. Looks like they find Icy. No engagement top whatsoever. Looks like it's happening now, but Lamb, well, what can he do? Not enough. Mushi's jumping in. Latches up onto Sagam, but the Spectre haunt is there. The neutral creeps joining the party. Is it going to be enough? Sagam dropping low, not dead yet, able to live through it all with about 80 HP. He does get out in the end while that was happening. Shadow Demon dies bottom. KYXY going to hit the dirt as well. So the Spectre ultimate didn't do anything top, but did a lot of work bottom. They get 2 kills, and crucially, they get a kill on the Lone Druid. They've slowed down the farm at long.
Yeah, Lone Druid was able to take down a support before dying, but that's what Lone Druid do. You get a 3-man gank on him, he kills one and barely survived. Well, he didn't survive there, but yeah, the Batrider gank not really being effective up top, and Kunkka being a lot more effective on the bot lane. Lamb's actually been kind of roaming as much as a Batrider, and you were kind of doubting the effectiveness of Mushi. Lamb, not exactly the best ganker as Kunkka compared to a Bat, but now with the phase and drum, he's ganking. He's actually really high level. He's
3-1-1. He has more kill participation than a Bat with a 9-minute blink, and I think that's just a credit to Lamb's play more than a criticism of Mushi's. But we'll see the familiar scouting things out mid, and well, I really liked how when they had the Lone Druid bottom, because it forces Rattlesnake and they put pressure top. Because what do? If you go to pressure the Lone Druid bottom, they jump your Spectre top and he dies. And if you support him top, then in theory, Lone Druid should be able to push. It looks like Orange got a little overextended, got picked off, and now they'll go for a group up. The mech's up on Ohio, a big item. It's going to somewhat limit Rattlesnake's ability to just instantly blow a hero up, but end of the day, they have so much AoE that a mech is only the starting point for keeping your team alive, and, well, we'll see if it's going to be enough. Kabu, Haunt's cooling down in 30 seconds. They're actually going to smoke up. Icy, the only one who's got it, Blink Initiation.
Kabu does have a Vit booster, but I don't think he'll survive this. Clockwork Hook's going to come right in, but it's going to set up a 2-man tour, and both are going to try to burst everybody down. Batrider is dead, and here comes the Bear trying to do some work, lift the Awesome back, but right now Luo's down to about half HP. Burrow Strike being stolen here, and Visage, it's cleaned up on IL3. The Birds are hunting down Net. He's on the run, but meanwhile, though, it's Orange Esport winning this war of attrition. 2-man Shackle Shot. The Bear is mauling people down. Neil's on the run. He's running where the Bear gets resummoned. The Birds are dropping 1-2. Unfortunately, it's just Rattlesnake. Only the Kunkka survived. He will still want to fight more. The Torn as well as X is going to fall through, but Lamb's also going to go. Oh, nice.
Team wipe. Well, he does get the kill on the Windrunner, but end of the day,
the Han's going to come back in. The buyback as well here. Extinct might actually go down. Yes, he will. The Sand King cannot run away. It's going to be the KYXY X. Torn to follow through, and I think they will get a reverse team wipe coming back here. Will he survive the blink? Flame Break coming back in. The second bow of this team fight. KYXY is going to get hit. He's going to get burst down, and Batrider could only watch as it disengaged.
That was such a beautiful play by Rattlesnake. He actually, KYXY was going to dodge that boat. Problem was, the Familiar was there, trapping him on the other side. So he tries to run back, caught between a Familiar and a boat. That is a painful and ignominious way to die. But in the end, he will go down, and well, who comes out ahead there? I feel like it's Rattlesnake, because trading kills when Spectre's not farming, that's going to keep him relatively close to the Lone Druid. And once again, we'll see the Lone Druid does, in fact, fall. Mushi just hasn't progressed this farm. He's sitting on this Blink Dagger, no Force Staff yet, and he's starting to feel a bit squishy in these fights.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you here. Kunkka, I mean, he had to buy back and TP back in that top fight, but at the same time, they also protected that tier 1 tower, which is very, very important for Spectre. Spectre died in the beginning of the team fight, but was able to clean up and hunt back in, and now she's also up to 1k go. She just spent 1k go to buy a Vid booster, and now she's right back in that stage. So, yeah, I think that was a pretty big win for Rattlesnake. If you look at the go chart, it's hovering about a 5,000 goal lead for the Orange Esport, but it's slowly dipping down, and that's facing against a Spectre who's not exactly the most powerful hero at this mid-game stage, but she's going to get a lot more powerful a little bit later on.
Spectre's one of those weird heroes, right, where she doesn't farm particularly well naturally. Her skill set just isn't suited for it, but she always seems to find gold. And one of the big reasons is Haunt, because you end up getting so much assist gold in the fights. You just Haunt, you can be farming the whole time, and then you pop in, You reality your hero in, and all of a sudden 2, 3, 4 assists. That buyback totally worth it. The amount of experience, and that's very important for Spectre as well. It's not just the farm, it's the levels. You look at this hero and you really want to have level 16. A lot of other carries, they can be quite strong, even like Lone Druid. You hit level 7, sure, he benefits from the levels, but he's pretty good to go. Spectre, not so much. Really wants to hit level 16 and getting closer and closer by the second. KYXY, still no Maelstrom for him. He's really not farming that well. I mean, sure, 100 CS, he's the lead farmer, 7k net worth, but it just doesn't feel like that much considering the start he had. He was like 5-6 times the CS of the Clockwork, but multiple deaths, really slowing him down and keeping Rattlesnake in this game.
Yeah, he had 3 deaths so far here, and that's his one-row Lone Druid that's generally getting a ton of work has kind of slowed down because of those deaths. Kind of like you pointed out. Also, in the past 30 seconds to a minute, Mushi had an Invis Rune. And he was camping on the bot lane for Icy, but Rattlesnake does not see a bat on the map, and they're playing very defensive as a result. It looks like Bat's going to teleport top, and he's looking for a little bit of kill. Firefly granting that vision. Blink Dagger forward here. They see Neo, but will Neo actually die? The dagger coming through, and looks like he will get focused. There's a lift I talked about. The Han's going to come in. 2-man Shackle Shot. They want to focus out on Kabu early, but Kabu so damn tank with a Vid Booster and a Bracer. They're going to get 1 kill. Clock's going to come right in. Ohio, though, very tanky in the middle. Wind running still away. Lamp, Torn. The birds are falling down. 2-man Torn. They're going to focus on KYXY. I think that's going to be yet another death on him. I don't see him living through this one, especially with the X on top of him. Yes, he will go down. Just barely. Took a long time. Shackle Shot's going to follow through after a buyback from Ohio. Extinct's going to come right in. I do believe Kabu said no. He's staggering up. He's going upwards. Lamb's going to be the sacrificial bait here. That's a second death of him in the past 2-3 minutes. No buyback this time, but that was a big team fight win for Orange Esports.
Wow, that buyback did work. Also, I want to point out Ohio, not only does he snag the double kill there at the end, but I think he hit 3 2-hero shackle shots over like the past 30 seconds or so. Every shackle on point. If with his dying breath, he tosses out a shackle, it catches 2. He buys back immediately, rejoins the fight, and then hits another shackle. Just doing so much work, picking up kills all over the place. And as much as Mushi isn't farming that well, isn't really having that explosive game you would expect from a Batrider with a really fast Blink Dagger, the team's picking up the slack. 7-2-5 on Ohio. He's having a huge impact. His 4-step is coming soon. Sandkin with a Blink Dagger at 20 minutes in. RNG Sports, you mentioned just the amount of pressure that they put on their supports with the early movement, expecting them to gank and be very efficient with their time, not giving them safe lane farm too often, not really allowing them to play, say, like LGD, where they just stack camps and slowly accrue a safe advantage, but asking a lot more of them. They're delivering, and they're finding items off the back of kills, not off of creeps, and it's impressive for me. I think they need a little bit more of that to really feel secure, because Spectre didn't die in that fight. Kabu, all of a sudden, up to 2.1k, so we may see him work towards that next item now, be it a Yasha, be it a Diffusal Blade. It could even complete the drums, but I feel it's getting a bit late for that, and would like to see him go for something a little bit more mid-game, late-game oriented.
Yeah, I mean, Extinct and Net hasn't been ganking as much this particular game because they basically had to park themselves up in the top lane. It's a very dangerous trialing to leave. And as a result, we do see Sandkin getting a fairly early Blink Dagger. I think that Blink Dagger is very necessary. A lot of support Sandkin go for Arcane Boots first, but this game, you know that Mushi is not going to give you that mid-game DPS that he normally gives you with a hero like an OD or a Queen of Pain or a Puck. So you have to make it up somewhere, and Sandkin is, I guess, the tool to make it up. Level 2 Epicenter already, another thing that you don't see too much from a support Sandkin. So if you could channel that big haunt, or the big Epicenter, it's going to do a lot of work. But unfortunately, there's Spectre Dagger, there's Rockets. I just don't see Extinct actually getting this kind of big Epicenter off. Yeah,
and Haunt especially. Haunt's probably the hardest thing to deal with, because no matter what, that illusion comes right next to you and starts doing damage instantly. So KYXY, well, he'll sit at this bottom lane. They did group 3 up. It looks like Rattlesnake wanted to make a go, cannot find the opening. For RNG Sports, they had an early mech, they had a safe lane Lone Druid, and they had a fast Blink Dagger on Batrider. That's normally a recipe for taking all the outer tier 1s and then working on the tier 2s by around this time, the 20-minute mark, but the tier 1 mid still stands. All the tier 2s are healthy, haven't really been pressured. I feel like RNG Sports, they're not quite hitting that timing window with the amount of gusto they want. Icy fishing for a hook mid lane, just out of range, can't find it in the end. Net able to dodge that one. Orange up by 8k gold, 6k experience, but whenever there's a Spectre and just such a strong backline, lots of burst damage, lots of initiation, I feel Rattlesnake, plenty of hope in this game.
Yeah, I feel like Rattlesnake's a lot more well-positioned for this late game. They have the Roshan spot control because this mid tower is still up. It's actually hard for the Radiant team to actually push. Even with the things like Lone Druid, Because when you're you're grouping up, and that's just a field day for your heroes like Clockwork as well as Kunkka to set up all over you. And of course, you got to keep in mind that Spectre, one of the better split push because of Han. Han is just probably one of the best ultimates in the game, in my opinion.
They're going to go in now. Mushi jumps in, looks to grab Icy, but gets pushed back by the Cogs. That's the power of the Clockwork to counter a Batrider initiation. And between that and the lift, Mushi just having trouble locking onto a target in these fights. We saw in the previous team fight top about 3-4 minutes ago, got lifted up and the initiation was pretty much over. And this time, well, a simple cog ends the engagement. So Rattlesnake just having those tools to slow down Mushi can't seem to get his feet in the game.
Yeah, I think this is a very good time to ask you a question about Batrider. Do you really think that Batrider is as premier of a first pick? I mean, generally a lot of times he's like constantly deemed as a first pick, first ban because of his great laning stage, because of his powerful mid game. And we definitely seen performances in the past where a hero or a solo player just like S4 just completely dominate with the Batrider and take over a game. And then you look at a game like this where he had one of the earliest blink, 9.5 minutes, and his effect has not been really felt, mostly due to Rattlesnake's great play. But at the same time, is Batrider as good of that hero that is it deemed as a worthy first pick?
Well, the major change in this patch was just that Flame Break got more expensive at all levels. The mana cost is higher, but essentially Batrider is still the same hero as he was in 6.77. And end of the day, I feel like it's like you said, Rattlesnake just fantastic positioning, even things like the Rubik just backing off mid with no vision at nighttime right when Mushi picked up the Blink Dagger. That's just something you can't bank on, and most teams fall victim to that early blink, but Rattlesnake were prepared, they played it safe, and they dodged a lot of bullets. And the other thing is,
top lane though, they were not going to dodge this one. Neo being dragged, he's going to actually walk up on this cliff. No, Sand King's up on the cliff. Everybody's on that cliff, but Clockwork's going to come right back in, and Extinct maybe a little bit in big trouble. Torrent's going to hit him as well. He's on the other side, and Kabu's going to eat him alive. Can he Burrow Strike? Yes, he will. He's got Blink Dagger as well. It's going to teleport out. Great disengage for himself, but the rest of the team is on the run. They lose one in the form of Net X. Is there a Torrent follow-up? Yes, there will be, and the Cogs on top as well. Winmer is going to eat a both. No! Why is everybody leaving these Cogs?
The Cogs are not safe for anyone. Kabu chasing in. Luo zapping as well. Can't quite get that secondary bounce to pick off Ohio. And oh, by the way, they're fighting without KYXY. How did everybody live? I have no idea, but somehow they did. Bottom lane, KYXY will find the tower. Now sitting on 1,300 gold. Hyperstone up. The farm is starting to come out for him. And for Rattlesnake, Spectre just isn't farming. So this is where they need those fights to work. They need to find those kills, but a little bit of luck, a little bit of ingenuity for Orange, able to dodge away. The Sand King barely escaping with his life, teleporting out the last possible second. Windrunner force-staffing out of the Cogs. Looked like certain doom for her, but Ohio's able to live too. Rattlesnake just, I gotta say, just bad luck in that fight. Not able to find the kills, and great play by Orange. Stalling while KYXY plays that 4 protect 1 lone druid, pushes in the bottom lane, and Assault Cuirass is coming soon. That's going to pose a bit of an issue for Rattlesnake, because that means the tier 2 push mid, and potentially the Roshan is coming soon.
So what's scarier for you here in this game? A Lone Druid that's getting his AC after a Maelstrom, or a Spectre that's going to be picking up a Relic in about 1 minute of time? Because, sure, I think the matchup between Spectre versus Lone Druid is going to win that 1v1, or I guess 2v1 in this case.
For this stage of the game.
Right. But
in 20 minutes, maybe not.
Well, I mean, 20 minutes, he's still going to... The Bear's still going to push tower like crazy. But also in 20 minutes... one single Spectre Haunt, your Bat's dead, your Sand King's dead, your SD's dead. I guess your SD could make 8 seconds of a Spectre Illusion, 2 of them, and that's going to be a pretty big deal, but I just don't think you win that long drawn-out fight against a Spectre. Yeah,
Lone Druid, although he is a fantastic 1v1 hero, if you choose to just sit there and slap away at the bear the entire time, because it's not really 1v1, it's 2v1. There's 2 bears, they want their honey, they're angry, and they'll fight you to the death, but thing is, Lone Druid's just immobile. He's really that slow siege cannon trebuchet of a carry, whereas you look at Spectre, even without going for the phase drums, you still have Dagger, you're still a very mobile carry, and you have Haunt. So as the game goes later, it's just can the supports live, like you said, and I feel that's where the Spectre is just going to be more effective. But they got to get to that point first. Sagem, Mushi jumps in, and just a Grave Chill is enough to drive him back. He's actually driven really far away. Mushi just can't find the openings. You know, Lumi, it's getting to a point where I would almost say Batrider shouldn't be going in first. It should be the Sand King who is. It should be Ohio who is with a Shackle Shot, because every time Mushi goes in, he just gets controlled. Lifted, cogged, doesn't really matter. Whatever the solution is, he just can't latch on. So Mushi, maybe he should be going in second or third.
I mean, him going in first, it's fine if you set up that epicenter. So far, they haven't been doing it, and that just goes back to Rattlesnake's lineup because they have so much actually long-range disengage spells, right? They have X, they have Torrent, they have Bolt, they have Hook, they have Telekinesis, Lift, they have the Soul Assumption that we just saw, or Grave Chill. There's just so much stuff that it just doesn't matter what angle you go into and who you initiate. There's always that one person that's going to counter-initiate against you. They are going to do some D-ward action up top, though, as the Bear as well as the rest of the team is zoning them out. Fireflies is out, so I don't think the Radiant team should fight right now. So Rattlesnake holding on to the position, and guess what Spectre's doing on the bot lane? Still going at it with that split push, and she could do this.
And there's your Assault Caress. And yeah, like you said, Kabu has the luxury of going for the split push, doesn't have the Radiance yet. That's going to be a really important pickup for him just because it puts more of a timing window on Orange every time they group up. Right now, they still have a while to wait for the lane to push in. Spectre with just a Relic, not going to push it that fast. And although KYXY's gotten this Assault Caress, he's off on his own. His team won't be benefiting from it in the potential upcoming fight. And well, we'll see what's going to happen from here. Ohio picked up an Ultimate Orb, working towards a Scythe of Vice. Man, English is a hard language of his own.
I agree.
Well, I'm preaching to the choir there, but well, KYXY pushes that lane in, but I do feel for Orange like they're just not quite peaking at the right time here. And well, they'll go in now on Lamb. Mushi, finally he gets an initiation. He pulls Lamb up onto the cliff. He holds him in position. He's pulled him a bit too far. Flame breaks him back away, but not quite over. Extinct. There's your two-hero Epi. Burrow, the follow-up. Icy low. Shackled to a tree. How did it latch? No way. Meanwhile, the base is being broken by KYXY, but we're watching for Luo. Luo's in trouble, trying to run. Can't get away just yet. We'll take a quick look at the base here, and it's just KYXY bulldozing his way. Towers can't run. Towers can't hide. Towers don't care if you're melee. They take all sorts of damage. He'll take the tier 3, and in a matter of seconds, he'll go right onto the racks. No buyback on the Spectre. No buyback apparently on any of the core heroes. If they had it, they'd be using it right now. Sagam latched to a creep. He's in trouble. Might fall as well. Is this the end for Rattlesnake in game 1? It very well could be. Sagam driven back, and they'll go back to work on the racks. In a heartbeat, in a flash, Orange, they've taken one lane of racks, and it feels like they can just go Roche here and then maybe just end the game.
So I was completely baffled in terms of why the Dire lost that team fight so badly, and the biggest reason they lost team fight was the Haunt never came through. He was dead, actually. Like, the Lone Tree was just going right on top of him with that AC as well as Maelstrom. There was a couple of Root involved in that chase, and that was all we saw from the Spectre. And Spectre,
you can't dagger out of the Root.
Right, and Spectre is your only way to deal with that Sand King episode, like, because you have a ton of time to Haunt when you know he's channeling the Epicenter. So you basically have 2 seconds to win that team fight. Because if that Epicenter don't come in, your Kunkka survives, your Clock survives, and it's so hard, and of course your Spectre comes in on the other side of the map. Your Spectre died, Lone Tree is pushing, and on the other side of the map you're losing a team fight. It was just a lose-lose situation on Rattlesnake. And losing one Rax is not exactly the biggest deal against a Spectre because she's such an awesome late game hero. But at the same time, that's exactly what Orange Esport needs to kind of cement their lead in this game.
For me, it's more even about the gold. Like, often you look at the Raxes and it's just about map control. It's about the balance of the lanes and the creep equilibrium. But for me, Kabu's just poor, man. He's got 8.7k net worth. You compare that to your lone Druid, KYXY. At times, they were only 2-3k apart, but now KYXY really pulls ahead. He'll go towards a Basher. He'll go for some big late game items here. And you look at Spectre, well, still farming the Radiance. 32 minutes in. Radiance, an item that just isn't that effective if you get it this late. Sure, you can push out the lanes a bit, but and yes, it helps to deal with the Blink Dagger, but you also want it to just burn down the enemy supports. And which supports are you going to be burning down? Shadow Demon with a Ghost Scepter, very tanky, very durable. Sand King, Blink, Ghost, and then, of course, Burrow Strike, very elusive and durable in his own right. And then you have robust semi-carries and utility heroes like Bat Rider, the Lone Druid, the Windrunner. Heroes that just aren't going to die easily, so it's at that point in the game where Radiance just isn't going to do much. It's about the 2-3 items after that, but can he farm those? We'll have to wait and see.
I just don't think he has the time to farm those. And Orange has to recognize that once Kabu has Radiance, he also needs a buyback for Spectre to actually be truly effective. So I want to see Orange actually make a tier 2 push, a big one right now, because even if he has Radiance, he's going to have a Haunt, but it's just like you said, a single Haunt is not going to win the game. A lot of great Spectre play comes in the fact that he runs in, he gets focused on the first life, and then he haunts back in. And then with the support of his ally, he basically gets a triple kill, and then he's right back in the game.
Of course, they do have Kunkka. They do have Visage. They have Clockwork, a lot of control a lot of burst. We can't count Rattlesnake out of this game, but it's going to be very hard from here. They now trail by about 17k gold, 16k experience. Lamb's going to lead the way, working his way through the tree line, trying to be a gorilla, at least for the moment. Looks for the turret, canceling, throws it out now, but won't connect in the end. RNG Sports, well, they'll simply back off. They'll rotate towards top. They'll go back to farming. And there's your Radiance. 33 minutes in.
Still need buyback.
I would, like you said, still needs buyback. And, well, this is where I'd love to see some stats on a Radiance, because 33 minutes in sounds pretty late to me, Lumi.
It's probably one of the worst timing on the Radiance when you basically farm straight for it. I mean, there's a Vid Booster in between. There was a buyback or two, I think, in between as well. He's forced to take a ton of team fights early on. Remember, his early game CS was horrid, and now he's farming some 20 gold creeps, which is not exactly where you want to be. Losing that Rax is going to slow down the farm here for Kabu.
Well, we're going to see a smoke from Rattlesnake. Lamb's leading the way. The Bear's going to try and scout things out, but of course it's not going to reveal the smoked heroes. Lamb's getting closer. He's got the scent. Can he find the opening? The rocket comes through, narrowly misses seeing KYXY, and now the Bear's actually going to reveal them. Or the hero, I should say, with the Lone Druid Spirit Bear giving a bit of vision. The Haunt, and anyway, they're diving KYXY at the Tier 1 top. This is such an aggressive dive, but there's no follow-up. There's no backup. He gets hooked. He's going to go down, most likely. Thrown back towards the tower. Still alive. Not enough. Will fall in the end. Man, I can't believe they pulled that off. Now the Familiar's on the run as well. They just smoked all the way from their base to the enemy Tier 1, and Orange unable to react in time. How many TPs did they have? No TP on Extinct, no TP on Net, no TP on Mushi. Literally nobody except KYXY had a TP. Actually, Ohio did because he TP'd in. But, Lumi, that doesn't cut it.
Right. I mean, they did not expect that gank at all. It was like the Trojan horse that came out of nowhere because who makes a gank like that in front of the enemy Tier 1 tower? That alone against a Bat Rider should... I mean, there's also a Shadow Demon on the map, right? If the Disrupt comes and suddenly the gank goes lowsy.
I'm not sure if Rattlesnake knew that Orange didn't have TPs. I know they showed themselves in the lanes at some points, but... it's either incredibly ballsy and greedy or just really great play for them to see that the TPs weren't there and then make the go. But either way, they get a much-needed kill. KYXY on the sidelines, and now when he respawns, that Bear won't be able to be resummoned for quite some time. So, well, RNG Sports, despite losing their Lone Druid, despite losing their big damage dealer, they're still going to camp this Roche, and Rattlesnake, a nice little kill. But they did use a lot for it, and in the meantime, Orange isn't giving up Roche.
I mean, 99 times out of 10, a losing Chinese team make that 4-man smoke gang is so painfully obvious.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work, right? But in that one time, it worked. And now Rattlesnake says, all right, we're going to keep on farming. And that's the only thing they care about. Making sure Kabu has buyback, and if he gets up to that Reaver gold, he's going to buy it in a heartbeat. And suddenly things again might get a little bit dicey for Orange Esports, who's up a Rax in about 30 minutes of game time. And they're going to try to force down Tier 2. I think Radiant, or Dire, excuse me, if they want to just give away this one for free, they could do so as well. Or if they want to fight over it, they still have Haunt.
Do you really want to contest over the Tier 2? You lose this tower, Spectre's forced to buy back. That's probably Roche, and it might just be game. And I feel the safer play is just defend your base.
Yeah.
And it looks like that's what Rattlesnake will go for. They're working towards some next-level items. Lamb working towards his Assault Cuirass, and... well, Orange just cruising for a bruising right here. They're going to push the top lane in. They've got that cloak up on the Lone Druid. He's had it for like 30-plus minutes now, but working towards the big items. KYXY has the Basher. He'll go for another Javelin, MKB perhaps in the offing, and they're going to start pushing the Tier 3 top. No, they'll back off. They'll rotate towards the middle lane. Net's going to camp and perch on the high ground, just waiting for an opening.
Yeah. The reason that we don't see Rattlesnake defending that Tier 2, it's a nightmare to defend Tier 2 towers against a Bat Rider because he could just come in from all sorts of angles like this or like that with a Blink, Firefly. It is also almost impossible to defend. You can see that now the Visage Merge, they're basically working double duty time, trying to find that Bat Rider and prevent him to actually blink in, just attack him once and cancel it. Haunt is also going to be an issue there for Mushi to deal with.
It's really like trying to defend the Maginot line. There's
Right.
just too many ways around it, and... well, in the end, wisely, Rattlesnake will stake their defense in their trenches a bit farther back at the base. Problem is they're now giving up an Aegis to KYXY, I do imagine. Maybe to Ohio would be a pretty good candidate. They'll give it to KYXY. Double Bear coming soon, and Mushi's looking for some kills here. He's Fireflied up. He'll blink in. He just wants the familiar. Won't find it in the end. Mushi being cheeky as always. And Orange, they get the second lane of Rax. That would probably be game. But can they get it? We'll have to see, and like you said, a lot of it just depends on Spectre and his buyback. Kabu has it now, and we'll have to keep an eye on him. If he blows Haunt before he dies, then, well, buyback won't do much. So look to him to save it, die, and then buyback if he needs to defend this Rax.
Yeah, when your game plan revolves around you dying in the first thing in a team fight.
He kind of has to, though.
Yeah, you have to. You don't want to. It's just like, well, it's you're in that awkward situation where you have your Radiance, but you don't have enough to actually win a team fight.
The one other thing for Rattlesnake is they just have such a good lineup for defending high ground. Cogs, both. Oh, they're going to find an opening. Maybe not a good lineup if they get caught like this. Luo picked off by Mushi in a matter of seconds. Epicenter is there. Extinct waddles around looking for the big damage. Kambu, he's used his haunt offensively. That means he won't have it if he dies and has to buy back. The Lone Druid just pushing in top lane. They're going to throw a few of their teammates to the wolves, and they'll look for the racks here. Net driven back, brought down by a soul assumption. But remember, Orange is raxing top lane. They're going for the jugular. They're going to take 2 lanes of racks with ease, and Orange Esports just outmaneuvering Rattlesnake. Sure, Rattlesnake get a couple kills, but that's Haunt on the sidelines, and that's Q for Orange to take this 3rd lane of racks and end the game.
Lamb's doing some solo magic here, but he's going to get scythed up here, and the bear is on top of him. He can't actually shadow play out as well. No, he actually will be okay.
Oh, he'll get away for the time being, but this bear isn't done yet. It's going back in, looking for a root. Where's that root? He'll get a bash instead. Ohio on the backside finding a kill of his own, and this bear's going to work. Those cogs were ill-advised, my friend. Very ill-advised. Lamb caught out. Lamb will fall as well. The cogs absolutely cornering everyone in, and then they're slaughtered like some pigs. And, well, we'll see Rattlesnake driven even farther back. Another bash on Luo, taking a lot of damage here from the bear. Shackle won't connect. Now the 4-step forward. Ohio looking for an additional kill in Kabu. Cannot find it. They really just should take the racks, and it looks like in the end they'll kind of trot out. They'll reset themselves, and, well, Rattlesnake still fighting on. They'll get a cleave off there in Ohio, but it's not enough. Mushi jumps in, wants to take land. Remember, he just fought back, and he's in a world of trouble. The Shackle shot, stolen by Luo. Will it be enough? Doesn't feel like it. Lamb low, Lamb dead, and that's trouble. But maybe not. Not if Kabu can turn this around. There's your disruption. KYXY says, I'm going to fight this one out. Doesn't even have his bear at his side right now. Doesn't need it, apparently. Kabu driven back. Shackle won't latch, but purged anyway. Flame breaked into submission. He'll fall as well. Luo on the run, hoofing it to the fountain, and Rattlesnake are going to tap out. RNG Esports just better decision-making and too much of an advantage. Rattlesnake going to drop game 1.
Yeah, I thought Rattlesnake was so well positioned to win this game if it gets drawn out, if it boils down to a farm war. But suddenly, 1-1 team fight and 1 bot racks down. The game was just an uphill climb for Rattlesnake.
You know, it's just one of those situations where Spectre, you know, sure, he had the buyback, but he already used Haunt, so it wouldn't have mattered. And
right.
He kind of had to use Haunt, because otherwise they lose that first fight, and then what does his Haunt really do? But problem is, he Haunted, they get a couple kills, and Orange just, I liked how they played that. They left Lone Druid Windrunner top, 2 of their most survivable, durable heroes, and their 2 best pushing heroes, and they let Rattlesnake take the bait. For Rattlesnake, they didn't want to fight 5v5, so they were kind of forced to take whatever engagement they could.
Yeah, I mean, the reason he used Haunt in that team fight was he saw the Epicenter was down, so they know that there was no follow-up DPS on Radiant. So they're like, okay, if we Haunt, we win this team fight quick, and then we TP up top to defend, but you can't win a team fight quicker than a Lone Druid takes racks, because...
Not that Lone Druid. He had a Basher, a Maelstrom, an Assault Cuirass.
And AC.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what he said, Assault Cuirass. And
a lot of levels, too. So, RG Sports take game 1 was not the most polished performance, I would say, and I actually thought Rattlesnake played pretty well in defeat, at least through the mid-game there, and particularly Mushi got a 9.5-minute Blink Dagger. Didn't really do much.
That was the most impressive thing. I was kind of questioning what does a Bat Rider do. I mean, a lot of it he was pressuring in terms of people not farming, because when you're staying back and not dying to the bat, you're not farming.
Yeah.
So that's added some to the effect where Kabu doesn't have the best late game inventories.
Yeah,
it's because of that.
Forced to buy back, joining a lot of fights early, which
getting a vid booster early, strength treads, bracers.
These items don't help you farm.
Right.
So RNG Sports, they're going to take game 1, but of course it's a best of 3 for Orange. They're really looking for a 2-0 sweep, because they get the 2-0 sweep here today, and they'll be 3-0 in the group. They'll be facing DK for that final match of Group B. First place, they are seeded directly into the round of 4. So, well, a lot at stake here for RNG Sports. For Rattlesnake, it's only about pride. But we'll take a quick break, guys. When we come back, we'll be live with game 2. Can Rattlesnake force a deciding game 3? And can they at least look to take a single game here today? Or RNG Sports going to cruise to a 2-0 victory? We'll find out after this.